Hey guys, welcome back. So this is the project that we're gonna be building. We're just gonna simply fetch the top 10 performing coins in terms of their market cap, and whichever coin you click on, you're gonna see its price performance and the market performance over what I think is like the last 30 days. So this is how the BNB coin has performed over the last 30 days. If I click on Bitcoin, and you can see it's been going down over the last what 30 days. Yeah, Bitcoin, you can see what's going on. So we fetch the coins and then we show you how they have been performing. So you're just gonna click on this. Yes, I hope you guys gonna enjoy this project, and please don't forget to hit that subscribe and like and leave a comment. Let's go. Hey guys, welcome back. On the screen I have the project. Is a React project. I bootstrapped it using Vite, and if you want to know how I did it, you can check out this documentation here. So if you're using npm, you're gonna hit npm create Vite at latest, and then you can give it the name of your project. Okay, let me just show you an example here. Open the terminal, npm create Vite, and you're gonna give it the name, right? So let's hit enter. It's gonna ask you the name of the project, and then the name of the project, and then here you actually gonna say you essentially need to check select the framework that you want to use. So we're gonna use React, and then we're gonna use JavaScript. So you're gonna hit JavaScript, but I'm not gonna do that because I've already installed it. So I'm just gonna cancel this. And what we also need, we're gonna use Tailwind to style our project. So we're not gonna use vanilla CSS, right? So let's get started and install Tailwind, right? So go to framework guides, and then we are using Vite, and then this is the command that you need to run, and also some changes that you need to make into the Tailwind config file. So since we have already done this part, since you have already installed it, I would assume that, and then now we need to copy this and paste it here. And then once it's done installing, let's give it a few minutes. Okay, it's done installing. We need to also run this line, Tailwind. Let's copy this line, and or run actually run this line, and it's done. So we need to go into the config file. This is the one, and copy this. So we're gonna go into content, paste here, and go into the index CSS and paste this. Here's our index, and I'm just gonna copy everything in here and remove it. We don't need it, and we are done. So what we can now do is actually run the project. But before I actually do that, I need to remove a certain things. I need to remove certain things, right? I don't need this CSS anymore. So I'm gonna need to remove it where it was referenced. Remove this, remove this, and remove everything in here. Okay, what else? Yeah, now I believe we can run the project. Npm run dev, and like that we have set everything that we need. Let me go into app and say welcome to technology, and save and see if everything okay. Everything is working just fine. So what I need to do is actually start with the UI, right, before we actually get into the functionality. So, and I'll be using Tailwind, right? So for my background, I'm gonna use this color. Let's see if say 900, and let's see. Okay, it means our our Tailwind CSS is set, right? So I'm gonna do shadow and then large UI padding and px we can do like 5. Okay, so I need to style these, so let me remove welcome. Let's say crypto coins, and here I want to do the performance of all the top 10 coins in real time. Okay, so let's style this. Let's style this text as name, and okay, text gonna be white. Text 5, help me. Maybe Y the padding, and I want the font to be bold. Let me save. Okay, great. And we can do the same thing, not really the same thing, but we can style this text here, and I think we can make it small. Yeah, I think this is what we need. And what do we need? Also, we need a div here. We need a div that is gonna use flags. And do we need, no, we don't need this. We need UI to be at least 2, and the gap between the contents of this div be 1, and we're gonna use flex wrap. And then inside here, this is where we're going to use the button to click or to select a certain coin, right? So here I'm just gonna say Bitcoin, and just Bitcoin. Leave it like this. I'm just gonna test it with with only 2 coins, right? Not 2 coins or 2 buttons. And then the button, the styling for the button. Okay, I also need to do this. Last name, background, I need it to be white, text to be small. I'm gonna use this color, slate, or yeah, or say, let me see with saying, and then use is it gonna be the same? Let me actually use slate and say 400, and py to be Dre. What else? We need it to be rounded because we want some type of border radius. Because we're gonna have an image inside this button, so I'm gonna use flags and item center and justify them center again, justify center, and the width of the button is gonna be, whoa, okay, is the test okay? Let me see. Cool, this is, let's make use of 900 here. Okay, so now what I need to do is actually to grab the image for this Bitcoin. But let me show you what I'm gonna do. So we're gonna make use of this API. So you can go to this link here, www.coingecko.com, whatever, and let's explore the docs here. I want us to get the coins, this one, and tried it out. I'm gonna use the South African rand, which is ZAR, and I only need 10. Yeah, I can execute this, but whatever what I exactly need for now is actually this link. so we can use an image inside our application. So here, before the Bitcoin, I'm gonna use an image tag here and paste the link and open this up. Where is our project? Where is it? Here is it. So we need to style this. The image, I'm gonna remove this alt tag. So for the image, what we need, we're gonna say width 4 and margin X to be 1. Yeah, this looks pretty okay. Maybe 6. Quite a lot. Let me see something. So this is what we have so far. So if I move this one here, so I can duplicate this one down. So this is what, oh yeah, no, this is not really great. Copy this line here. Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with 2. So these are the coins that you're gonna select from, and then here we're gonna use this. We're gonna use this white space here to display the graphs. So to display the performance of whatever coin you would have selected, right? Let me close this. Close this. So this is what I have so far. What I need now is actually to go here and have I've done something. So what I need to do is actually do this, copy this, use the React fragment, and then after this one I'm simply going to use a div. So we're gonna have a div that will have 2 divs, right? Let me just do div. So each div, no, so inside this div we're gonna have 2 divs, and then each div will actually contain the line graphs, right? So okay, okay, I think we could leave this as it is for now, right? We could leave this as it is and actually maybe work with this button, so, or actually fetch the data from the API, right? And then once we have done that, and then we can maybe move on to actually deal with the graphs, right? So yeah, I think that's a pretty idea. So what I need us to do is, so I'm gonna need to import a few things. I'm gonna import the use state and the use fact from React. I'm gonna have state for the coins that we're gonna fetch. Use state, and it's gonna be an array, so we instantiate with an empty array, and then we're gonna need and use effect hook so that it runs on page load. And then in here I'm gonna have a function called fetch coins, and it's an arrow function async. Okay, so now let's go into the API documentation and look at how this thing works, right? So I'm gonna use this endpoint / coins market, list all supported coins, prices, market cap, whatever. And then here you can specify, so it shows you how to make this to make the query, right? So this is the parameters that are required, and then this is the one that is required, and then others are optional. So you need to specify the currency that you want to use. You can use USD, this blah 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 blah. I'm gonna use the SZER, so the South African rand. And also maybe here you can also specify the types of coins that you need, but now we don't need that. And then also here you can specify the number of values you want to be returned. We only want 10, so this is a fine. And so since we have already made this request, you can see the request URL here. So we're just simply going to copy this and paste it here. Or let me say constant response. Wait, I'm not going to use axiosums because I think this is like simple fetch. So we're just gonna do this, copy that. So you can specify the currency here, and then there's an order here. So it's gonna go from the one with the highest market cap going down, right? And per page is gonna return 10, and we are on page 1, so we never move to page 2 because we only need the top 10. And then we can take this response and say constant response with JSON, and we can save this data into our coins. We clean it up a bit, and we also need to call this function. So what I need us to do is actually console out coins. All right, so what we did was essentially like going into this URL or making this request, and then this is the response, right? So we're gonna get this data back, and then there are only a few things that we are interested in this body. Let me open up my project here and go to inspect and look at the response that we have. So this is the array. We have only 10 values inside this array, and then this is the data that we have. So we have the name, we have whatever the ID, we have the image, we have when it was last updated. We have a bunch of data, but what what we're going to use is actually the name, and then there's also the market cap rank, and also the image. So you see, like here we have an image, so we're gonna use the image, the market cap rank, and the name. So what I can do here is, so we no longer need this bunch of buttons here. I'm gonna select, leave out one only, and also we can actually create a separate component for buttons. So let me go in here and create a folder, components, and say button, damn it, CSS. What did I do? In here, create button.jsx. So the button we're gonna return the button that I copied from here. So I'm just gonna paste it here, and we can export this by default button. No. Okay, so it means we need a few things. We need the image, we need the name, we need the image, need the name, and I said we're gonna use the market cap rank. Yeah, this is what I need us to do or to have now. So we're gonna have something like market cap rank. This is the position, and then we're gonna have the name, and then also we're gonna have the image here. Image. Cool. So we can come in here and use this and say coins and use map. Let's say map, and we're gonna get a coin and return the button. No, let me use this, and then we're gonna say key is what is coin dot id. Obviously we have the id here, and the button takes a few things, right? It didn't import it. So the button takes a few things: the name, image, and market cap. So instead of having to pass all those three one by one, we can simply do this and pass in the coin. And let me open up here. Boom. you see we now have the 10 ranked using their market cap, right? So Bitcoin, Ethereum, and blah 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 till the Polygon one. So we have those 10 coins that we need. So now what I need us is, once you click on a certain button, you need to see that particular coin performance over last, I don't know, 14 days or 3 days or even 7 days. So we're gonna see how that one goes. So let's go back to the API here. Let me close this. So you see here, you can specify that there's an endpoint called market chart, right? So it shows you the prices, like how the price has been performing for that particular coin you would have provided the ID for. It's gonna show you its performance over a last whatever data, actually over a period that it was given. So if you give it a period of 30 days, it's going to show you how it has been performing over the last 30 days. So there are a few things also here that are required. It needs to know the ID, so e.g. Bitcoin, the ID of that coin, and the currency that you are using, and also the number of days. So how many days do you want to see? So for our case, we're gonna say 14. We can even go up to daily if you want. So let's say tried it out. So here we're gonna say Bitcoin. Our currency, we're gonna use ZAR, and days we're gonna say 14. And then also here you can see we want the data to be returned. The data interval has to be hourly, and we can say execute. And as you can see, here is the request URL. So we can use this URL to get this type of data that we want to draw our graphs on, right? So let me copy this line here, not this line. Let me copy this URL and come in here. So we have fetch coins, right? So I'm gonna have a function called fetch coin, or fetch coin market data, or market chart. Yeah, and obviously it's an asynchronous function. We're gonna do the same thing as this. So let me not copy it, fetch, paste it here. However, remember, we're not always going to fetch Bitcoin, so we need to find a way to make sure that once you click on Ethereum, we actually pass Ethereum here instead of Bitcoin, right? I'm gonna pass the ID here, and I can use the template string here and go here. Instead of saying Bitcoin, I'm just gonna pass in the ID, right? Response, and again to data read response.json. So what else? Okay, so what I need us to do is actually console out this data. How are we going to call this function? We're gonna call this function on button click. So we need to pass in a prop here, say handle click. Let me just say handle click, and this handle click will take in this function. And then we can copy this, open up this. We have an handle click prop here. So on click, remember, once you click this button, or once you call this function, you need to pass in the ID. So we need to do the same thing in here. So we're gonna do it like this, have a callback function here, and have a handle click, and then it should take the ID. Where we're gonna get the ID? Gonna get the ID here. Yes, this looks okay. Let me close this. So it means now we can start calling this function fetch coin market chart, fetch market, yeah, whatever the name. So let me go back to the project, close everything, click Bitcoin, I should get the data that I need. So you can see we get an array, we get an object with 3 arrays. So we have total volumes. We're not gonna use this one. We're gonna use the prices array and the market caps array. So let's start with the prices. So the prices is an array, and each array, so this array contains an array too, right? At each index you have an array with 2 values. So the value at index 0 is a JavaScript date, and then you also have 1 here. At index 1 you have the actual value that we need. So we have a value and a date inside an array, right? At each index of this prices array we have something like this. So this is the prices array, and then inside each array, inside this array, at each index we have an array which contains date and a value. So we have something like this. So somehow we need to make sure, and also if you look at this, at index 0 here, do you see this value is a JavaScript? So we need to convert this into an actual date, right? So what I need us to do is, so we can go into data.prices. So we can have something like labels. I'm gonna show you where we're gonna use these labels, right? So have an array. Actually, let me not do this for now. Let me actually draw the charts, and I'm gonna show you where we need those levels. So let's just forget about this for now and go into this page here. So I need us to install this React component library for chat.js. So we need to install it. I'm gonna use the npm, copy this line, and go in here, open another terminal here, and paste it. Oh no, what am I doing? And install the library. So I'm done installing the library, so it means I can close this. So now it means we can start drawing our line graphs. So what I need us to do is also create another component here called line JSX component line graph. Wow, today I've just been making so much typos. Okay, spot default line graph. So I need us to use the library that we just installed, right? So we're gonna import line from this, which is a line graph, and we're gonna come in here and make use of that line component. So it takes a few things, right? It takes in a few things. It takes in the state, I think. Is it the state? No, not the state, but data. Actually, yeah, the state, but actually data. And then here, this object, this data attribute here, or this data prop, this data object is passed into the .js chart. So it takes a few things, labels. This is the labels that we're gonna use, and then for now I'm just gonna do an array here and say January, February. I'm just gonna leave it with 2 values, and then data sets, and this data set is an array which takes in objects. So the object also has data array here. So for January we're gonna say 31, for February we're just gonna say 32 or whatever. And then also here we can pass in the values that we want to style this chart with. So here we're gonna say performance label for performance, like this. Yes, background color. I'm gonna copy this color here, paste it here, and border color. So we also need the border color. I'm gonna give it red, and we'll also need to fill, because we have the background color. I'm gonna say true, and radius 0. Is this all we need? Also the border color needs to be patterned with border width. Let me make it 2. And there's also this hack that you need to import everything from here. Auto, is it not auto? Not this chart.js, and solve some mystery errors. So we have this line, and we can go back into our application and import the line graph. No, it's a line graph. And if I open up here, I have my graph. Okay. Okay, this is what we have, right? So we're gonna have two actually line graphs. We're gonna have two line graphs. So I need us to style them to make them look side by side. How do we do that? So let me start with the main div here, class name. So py10 padding bottom, so we can push it up 20, and flex, so because we have justify maybe between, and the gap between these two graphs is gonna be 2, flex, and it's gonna be a column, right, on a small screen. And obviously for padding X, I'm gonna choose 5, and then from the middle size screen going up, the flex is gonna be row. Who is the other graph? Okay, what's going on? Let me refresh this. Okay, I have it here. So the second, this is the divs that are the children of this div, and we can use the class name here and also style them. I want the background to be white, obviously border, and then this border has to be rounded, and I also want this border has to be rounded and large. Item center, so I'm centering the graph, and I'm saying take the whole width that you are given, and on a medium size screen going up, we're gonna say you need to share and say 1/2. So I can simply copy this and paste it on this one here, save, refresh, and yes, so side by side. So what I need us to do now is actually to display the data that we get. Where is the data? Here's the data. And remember, I said inside the prices array, we have, so inside the array, okay, before I explain, let me do something like this. So we're gonna have a coin, set coin, that's the data we get. And I want us to structure our coin, right? So we have a price, we have prices, and we have labels. The labels is actually the dates, or I can just call it dates, and then it's gonna be an empty array. And then we also have the market cap, so I'm just gonna call it caps, right? So this is basically this is basically the data that we are interested in: the prices, the dates, and the cap, right? The market cap over the last whatever days here we give it. We are for the last 14 days. Let me say 30 days. So the dates, we need to grab them from here. So let me do dates, new dates. Okay, or let me call it, I don't know what I call it. Let me call it new dates. And then I want us to go through, because remember inside the data we have an array called prices. So I want us to go through this array called prices so we can fix I'm just gonna call it price. Actually, let me call it array. Remember inside this array, this prices, we have two values. We have an array which has two values, which is a date and the price, right? Or the value. So what I need us to do is simply go into new dates. I want us to go to new dates and push a new date, which is gonna be the array at index 0, and then I want us to get the date. And then we can also do the same thing for the price, right? So we can also do the same thing for the price. Prices, let me do new prices, and new prices. I'm gonna say new prices dot push whatever value that is at this array at index 1. We know it's the actual, we know at array index 1 is the actual value, array index 0 is the date. And then we can take this date and prices and push it into this coin, right? So set coin, and then do coin, no, and use the spread operator here and say prices is the new price. And then what else do we have? Dates, and we say new dates. We still haven't dealt with the caps, right? We're gonna deal with that in a minute. So I want our graph to take a few things, to take the labels and the values. The values is gonna be our data here, which is supposed to be an array, and also our labels supposed to be an array. And then I want us to actually hide this graph for now and deal with this one. So what do we expect? We expect values, labels, which is our new dates, not new dates. Actually, it's supposed to be coin dot dates. And for values, we're gonna do coin and prices. Yes, let me check it if it can draw something for us. Oh, it did not draw. What's the problem? Refresh. Oh, because we haven't fetched any data for these. So if I click on Bitcoin, I should be able to see the performance for the Bitcoin over the last what, over the last 30 days. So this is how the Bitcoin has performed over the last 30 days. Yeah, this is how it has performed. I also want to get rid of these grid lines here. So we need to go into the graph. We can pass in the options here, options, and then X. For X, is it called grid? Is it grid? And display false. Why do I have errors? No, why do I keep using the semicolon instead of the equal sign? What's the problem? Is the, no, this one is okay. It's supposed to be this. No, it's not inside the data. I think it's supposed to be outside. Yeah, the X ones are gone, so we can do the same thing here. I can copy this line down for the Y values. Refresh. What's going on? Still have them. Oh, it's actually inside scales. Sorry, so scales, and I can paste these. Yes, gone. Boom. So this is the performance of the Bitcoin. Let me click on Binance, and you see it changes. Click on whatever this is. So what I can do also here is, let's go to button on, and have, is it on active or on, and say background played, maybe 400. Not active, it has to be focus. Close this, click Bitcoin. Okay, click this one. Oh my god, nice. So now we need to draw the market cap. So this is the performance in terms of the price, right? So maybe we should find a way, maybe we should here say label. We should pass in the label, and here, where's the label? Not just say performance and say label, and then we go in here in the line, not line, the app.js, and say we also have a label, and then for now, for this one, we know is the price performance, and we can do the same thing here. So we also need to do the same thing here for the market cap, right? So I can copy down this. Here we're not going to make use of the price. Is gonna make use of the market. What is it? Market something. Let me go down. Market caps. So I can go into market caps. So it means here I can new caps. So do new caps, and we don't need the dates because the date for the price and the caps is gonna be the same thing. So we're just gonna reuse the dates. For new prices, gonna say new caps. We don't need the date from these caps because they are the same as these dates from these prices, right? So we have the caps. So now it means we can go in here and say the caps is the new caps. And then it means we can go into our graphs here, copy this, paste, obviously, and then here we're just gonna say caps, and then here is gonna say market cap performance. Open our guy here. However, you see, I think like these values here are messing up our thing. So you can see, obviously, let me open Bitcoin. You can see here our values are actually like manageable, right? It's like 300,000. The highest value is like 400,000. And then if you can see here, we have a lot of digits, right? It's like a trillion or something. So we can get rid of these. We can get rid of these values here, these y values here, right? So how are we going to do that? This is called the ticks, right? These are the y-axis, and then we show ticks. So we can say this graph and say show ticks, and we go into the settings for y and say ticks, and then we say display, and we just say show ticks. Show ticks. So by default we can say show ticks is true, and then but then for our case in the market cap here, we're gonna say show ticks, and we pass in the value of false, so that it only takes the values from this graph, not the whole, not both of the graphs. So we can still see the performance for the price, but for the market cap we just hide those values because they are too long. The digits are too long because we are dealing with trillions. And I think this is actually the end of the project. Let me run it again. So once you run on page load, obviously you don't see anything because we can easily make it we can easily make the graph sorry, we can easily make the project to fetch the first coin on page load, because obviously on page load we don't fetch anything, right? Okay, so Bitcoin, oh no, Bitcoin USD coin. Yes, this is it. So we have what we need, and I think this should be the end of the video. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this one. It was the simplest one, I think. Yes, this is the end of the video, guys. So please make sure you hit that subscribe button so you can get more projects like this. Thank you.